Good morning. I just watched the Miraculous movie and I wanted to make a video because why not? This is gonna be a different video because I have a bit of a history with this show and nothing makes me more angry than Miraculous Ladybug. So there's gonna be a language warning among other things. I feel like this is obvious, but yeah, also a spoiler warning for both the show and the movie, especially the movie. But with all that said, let's get into it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna watch the movie like I was tempted to, but I was so badly burned by the show. Like, I want it to be good, but I'm just assuming it's gonna be bad. Most fans were saying that it was better than the show. A friend of mine told me that it wasn't that great, but my curiosity got the better of me, so here we are. I actually enjoyed the movie. I think I agree with my friend in the sense that it was nothing like spectacular on its own. Well, visually it's very good. It's actually a very high quality animated film. Like, when it comes to the animation, it's gorgeous. It reminds me a little bit of The Greatest Showman in the sense that, well, it's a fun watch and the music is actually really fun, surprisingly. It doesn't have like the strongest story, but it's not like a horrible story either. But as a former fan of the show, I was so relieved watching this movie. It was kind of cathartic, to be honest. It actually fixes a few of the most glaring issues in the show just in one movie, so that's a huge deal. Let me provide some context here. So how I feel about the show is pretty complicated. The show's concept is really good on paper. There was a lot of potential to be good. The first couple seasons being okay, but kind of more like a guilty pleasure. The writing just took a nosedive. Season 3 and moving forward, oh my god. It had some of the most inconsistent character writing I had ever seen. It's just an insulting middle finger to its audience almost. Instead of just dumping all the problems I have with the show, I think I'll just get more into that later and start with what the movie fixes. I'm gonna start with our king here. I'm gonna get a little bit personal for a minute, but I won't use any specifics. So at the time that I was really into Miraculous, it was a really traumatic time in my life. Let's just say that I could relate to the character Adrien/Cat Noir very strongly. I knew how he felt. I also felt very trapped. It was an abusive situation, and in response, I clung to this character. So in the show, Adrien's dad is the villain. He keeps Adrien trapped in his own home, kind of. He rarely allows him to go anywhere. He sometimes threatens to homeschool him so that he will never see his friends again. Adrien lost his mom a while ago, and because of this, he has no one to turn to other than his dad's servants, who kind of ultimately side with his dad in the end because they work for him. As goofy as he seems, Cat Noir is a tragic character. Cat Noir, the persona, is an escape from reality. The worst thing about the show is that it doesn't address this issue, or at least it doesn't properly, at least not in the first 3 seasons, which is when I stopped. But that just left a horrible taste in my mouth, and I think actually a really bad message. The show already kind of mocks Cat Noir in an attempt to boost Ladybug up a la faux feminist style. I could seriously slap these writers. So the movie handles this a lot better. They give us a lot more background on both Hawkmoth and Adrien. Not only do they have Adrien directly confront his father, like he should have done ages ago, we also get a scene at the end that is very redemptive. Gabriel actually breaks down in tears when he sees that he's fighting his own son. They also put a much more selfless twist on what he was trying to do. Instead of bringing his wife back for himself, his sole reason for doing so was actually to make Adrien happy again. He felt and believed that Adrien needed his mother more than he needed his father, which is kind of bang on, considering what a shit father he is. Another problem with the show is that Hawkmoth is pretty boring. Like, he's kind of just standing around waiting for Ladybug and Cat Noir to do something in like a "bah, I'll get you next time" gadget style. In the movie, we get to see a lot more of Hawkmoth just enjoying being a villain and it having more dire consequences than it does in the show. Ironically, I think we wouldn't ever see Hawkmoth caressing skulls in the TV show because that's too scary. But showing him torture his own son is okay for kids. What the actual fuck is wrong with you? But the movie also addresses the situation with his mother much better. The show kind of danced around the issue. Like, it was heavily implied that she died or that she was as good as dead. But the only reason we know that she was important to Adrian and Gabriel is because of how sad they are. We never see her with them at all. But the movie openly discusses her death, and we also get to see flashbacks of Emily, and we see that Adrian was just a little boy when she died. We also see Gabriel genuinely grieving, and so I see him in the movie as more like a human being and less like a boring piece of wood or a shitbag. Now this is the one that really surprised and impressed me. The movie actually really improves on the romantic relationship that Ladybug and Cat Noir have. If you're not familiar with the love square from the show, let me break it down for you.
So basically, Marinette likes Adrian, but Adrian doesn't like Marinette because Adrian is actually Cat Noir who likes Ladybug. And Ladybug, who is actually Marinette, likes Adrian, but she doesn't like Cat Noir. But they actually love each other, but they actually hate each other. But this show is a mess!
It's all good fun until you drag it out for 7 fucking seasons. Or I guess 5 seasons? I don't know anymore. Regardless, it's a huge problem because neither of them admit their identities for the entire thing as far as I'm aware. There is awful communication and treatment of each other, and just, it's so bad. So thank God for the movie, we can all relax. Not only does the show treat Cat Noir better, it treats Marinette better in they don't massacre her character by making her into a psycho stalker. Show them protecting each other and not just grudgingly, like Cat Noir in the show probably would give anything for Ladybug, and Ladybug might, it's just, she's kind of dismissive of him, like, maybe it's playful, but I really don't like it. We see her genuinely risking her life for him and defending him, and I think that is so awesome. Would you fucking believe it? There's actually mutual respect between the two, like, wow, what a concept. Also, history was created when, at the end of the movie, the two reveal their identities to each other. I used to say things like, I'll watch Miraculous again if they ever reveal their identities just to see how it happens. Who would have thought I'd actually live to see the day Adrian cries, all the fandom's tears, and my own. It's actually beautiful. Lastly, let's talk about Marinette herself and the movie's theme. I actually still think in the movie that Marinette is kind of a boring character, like she's way better than in the show. Like when you compare her to Adrian, Adrian has a complicated family situation and is grieving the loss of a loved one and kind of has 2 very different personalities. And Marinette is kind of just really insecure because she's really clumsy. Not saying things have to be as dramatic and complicated and dark as they are for Cat Noir to make an interesting character, but Marinette's character feels very bare bones and needs to be more believable. I do appreciate though some of the executions in the songs and in her interactions with Tiki. It's normal for someone to feel afraid when taking on such a huge responsibility, especially a kid. I think most people can relate to being inadequate, like when she says, "Is being me really enough?" As cheesy as it might come across, I think the movie's theme that love drives out fear is actually 100% true. Love is actually the polar opposite of fear. For example, sometimes when someone is going out of control or having a panic attack, a loving hug from a friend or someone can help them calm down. Now, I'm not saying that always works or that it always works perfectly, because people are imperfect and show imperfect displays of love. But perfect love, hypothetically, does have the ability to do this. Love melts away fear. The movie also goes as far as to say that love is more powerful than death. I also agree with this. For example, Adrian and Gabriel's love for Emily grows and continues even though she is no longer with them, but she also is with them in their hearts as we see her embracing them at the end of the movie. Cheesy or not, I can appreciate this. I guess it's kind of sad, but also good, that because the show itself was so bad, this movie comes off as being really, really good in comparison. Like a masterpiece almost. Jeremy Zag, you get a hug from me. I also want to give a proverbial hug or high five to anyone who watched to the end of this video. Thank you. Wherever you are, I hope you have a really good week.